Welcome back to the Love and Relationship Lab. 5 silent signs you secretly want each other, but neither of you says it. Carl Jung, inspired. There are moments in life that cannot be explained by logic alone. You meet hundreds of people every year. You have conversations, exchange smiles, shake hands, and then move on. Most of those encounters disappear from your memory almost immediately. But every once in a while, someone enters your life and something feels different. You cannot explain why. Nothing dramatic has happened. They haven't confessed their feelings. You haven't started a relationship, yet somehow your attention keeps returning to them. You wonder if they're thinking about you too. You ask yourself questions that become impossible to ignore. Why do I keep noticing them? Why does it feel different when they're around? Am I imagining this? Or is there something happening between us that neither of us is saying? Carl Jung believed that much of what shapes our relationships happens beneath conscious awareness. We are influenced by unconscious emotions, hidden desires, and subtle psychological signals long before words ever enter the picture. Sometimes, 2 people begin communicating long before either one is brave enough to admit what they're feeling. Not through grand romantic gestures, not through dramatic declarations of love, but through small moments that seem almost invisible to everyone else. Today's video is about those moments. We're going to explore 5 silent signs that 2 people may secretly want each other, even when neither of them is ready to say it aloud. But before we begin, remember something important. None of these signs should be taken as proof on their own. People can be friendly. People can be shy. People can misunderstand each other. The real answer is never found in one single moment. It is found in a consistent pattern of behavior over time. With that in mind, let's begin with the first and perhaps the most powerful sign. Sign number 1. You can't stop noticing each other. At first, it feels almost accidental. You walk into a room. Without thinking, your eyes search the crowd, and somehow they land on the same person. Not once, not twice, again and again. Maybe they're speaking to someone else. Maybe they're laughing across the room. Maybe they're doing nothing special at all. Yet your attention keeps drifting back toward them. What surprises you even more is that you begin noticing something unexpected. Every time you look, they're already looking at you. Or perhaps they glance away the exact moment your eyes meet. Neither of you planned it. Neither of you understands it completely. But it keeps happening. This is one of the earliest signs that someone has become psychologically significant to you. Attention is precious. Your mind ignores thousands of details every single day. It filters out faces, conversations, sounds, and distractions so you can focus on what matters. When one particular person repeatedly captures your attention without effort, your unconscious is telling you that they have become emotionally important. And the same can happen for them. This doesn't automatically mean they're in love, but it often means they have begun noticing you in a different way. Notice what happens in group conversations. Even when several people are talking, your awareness keeps returning to each other. When someone tells a joke, you instinctively check whether they're laughing. When something surprising happens, you look to see their reaction before anyone else's. Psychologists sometimes describe this as selective attention. Out of countless possibilities, one person begins standing out. Carl Jung believed that certain people awaken hidden parts of ourselves. They capture our attention because they reflect qualities we admire, long for, or are only beginning to discover within ourselves. That doesn't make the connection magical. It makes it deeply human. Another interesting pattern appears when you're physically close to one another. Without realizing it, you become aware of where they are in the room. You don't have to stare. You simply know. Your mind quietly tracks their presence. And often, they seem equally aware of yours. Perhaps they choose a seat nearby. Perhaps conversations naturally drift until you're standing close together. Perhaps your paths cross more often than chance alone would seem to explain. These moments don't prove mutual attraction, but they do suggest that both people are becoming increasingly aware of each other's presence. Awareness is often the first step toward attraction. Another clue is curiosity. When someone begins occupying your thoughts, you naturally want to know more about them. You wonder what makes them laugh, what kind of music they enjoy, what they're passionate about, how they see the world. Interestingly, genuine curiosity usually works both ways. They begin asking thoughtful questions too, not because they're interviewing you, but because understanding you has quietly become important. The conversations may still seem ordinary, yet beneath those ordinary conversations lies extraordinary attention. Most people listen just enough to reply. Someone who is emotionally interested listens to, remember? They remember the little things. The story you told weeks ago, your favorite food, something you mentioned only once. These details matter because attention is one of love's earliest languages. But here's where many people make a mistake. They assume attention alone means certainty. It doesn't. Sometimes people are simply intrigued. Sometimes admiration exists without romantic feelings. Sometimes timing isn't right. This is why emotional maturity requires patience. Don't build an entire future from one glance. Don't confuse possibility with certainty. Real connection reveals itself gradually, not through one magical moment, but through repeated moments that continue pointing in the same direction. If someone consistently notices you, listens carefully, remembers small details, and naturally seeks opportunities to be near you, it's worth paying attention. Because genuine attraction often begins long before anyone finds the courage to say, "I like you." But attention is only the beginning. There is another signal that is even harder to hide. Because, while words can be carefully chosen, the body rarely lies. Sign 2, your body language reveals what your words hide. Have you ever noticed how someone can say, "I'm fine," while their face, their eyes, and their posture tell a completely different story? Words are controlled. Body language is often unconscious. Carl Jung believed that much of our inner world lives beneath the surface of awareness. We may convince ourselves that we're hiding our feelings, but The unconscious has a remarkable way of revealing what the conscious mind tries to conceal. That is why the second silent sign is so powerful. When two people secretly want each other, their bodies often begin communicating long before their mouths do. The first place this appears is in the eyes. People often say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And while that may sound poetic, psychology tells us something similar. We naturally look longer at people who matter to us. Think about the last time you were in a room with someone you couldn't stop thinking about. How many times did your eyes drift toward them without you even deciding to look? Then, something unexpected happened. They looked back. For a brief moment, neither of you looked away. Time seemed to slow down. Then, one of you smiled, or quickly broke eye contact. Why? Because prolonged eye contact creates emotional vulnerability. It silently asks a question that neither person is ready to answer. What is happening between us? This is why people who secretly like each other often play an unconscious game of looking away, and then looking back again. Not because they're trying to be mysterious, because they're trying to protect themselves. Another signal is mirroring. Without realizing it, two people who feel comfortable around each other often begin copying one another's movements. If one leans forward, the other naturally does the same. If one crosses their legs, the other may follow a few moments later. If one smiles, the other smiles almost automatically. Neither person plans it. The unconscious simply begins moving in harmony. This doesn't prove romance by itself. Close friends sometimes mirror each other too. But when mirroring is combined with prolonged attention, nervousness, and emotional warmth, it becomes part of a much larger pattern. Then there's the smile. Not every smile is the same. There is the polite smile we give strangers. And then there is the smile that seems impossible to hide. The one that reaches the eyes. The one that appears before either person even realizes they're smiling. When someone lights up simply because you entered the room, their emotions are often speaking before they have time to organize their thoughts. One of the most overlooked signs is nervous energy. Many people assume attraction creates confidence. Often, it does the opposite. Someone who is perfectly relaxed around everyone else suddenly becomes self-conscious around the one person whose opinion matters most. They adjust their clothes. They fix their hair. They suddenly become aware of how they're standing. They laugh a little more or a little less. Their voice changes. Some people speak faster because they're excited. Others slow down because they're carefully choosing every word. These tiny changes rarely happen on purpose. They're the body's response to emotional significance. You may notice the same thing happening within yourself. Your heartbeat feels stronger. You become more aware of your own movements. You wonder whether you're saying the right thing. You replay the conversation afterward, thinking about everything you should have said differently. This is what attraction often feels like. Not perfect confidence, but meaningful vulnerability. Another powerful clue appears in physical orientation. Imagine you're standing in a group of people, even while talking to someone else. Your feet naturally point toward the person you're most interested in. Your shoulders turn in their direction. Your body quietly signals where your attention wants to be. Researchers who study nonverbal communication have observed that our bodies frequently reveal our priorities before our words ever do. Again, this isn't something most people consciously control. It simply happens. Have you also noticed how conversations feel different? With most people, silence feels uncomfortable. You rush to fill the empty space. But with someone you're deeply drawn to, something changes. The silence doesn't always need fixing. Sometimes you simply enjoy being near them. No performance, no pressure, no endless talking, just presence. That kind of comfort can be surprisingly rare. Carl Jung often spoke about authenticity. He believed that meaningful relationships allow us to remove the masks we wear around the rest of the world. Around certain people, we stop performing. We become ourselves. And when both people experience that at the same time, a deeper connection begins to form. Still, it's important to stay grounded. Body language is not a mind-reading tool. Some people are naturally expressive. Others are naturally shy. Cultural differences, personality, and individual habits all influence how people behave. This is why one signal alone should never become the foundation of your hopes. Instead, ask yourself a better question. Do these behaviors happen consistently? Do they appear only around me? Are they supported by genuine respect, curiosity, and kindness? Healthy attraction is never built on guessing games alone. It grows through repeated moments of honesty, trust, and mutual effort. The beautiful thing about body language is that it often reveals sincerity. You can rehearse a sentence. You can pretend not to care. You can hide behind casual conversation. But it's much harder to hide the way your face softens when someone walks into the room. It's much harder to hide the smile that appears without permission. It's much harder to hide the warmth in your eyes when you're looking at someone who matters. Those moments cannot easily be scripted. They simply happen. And sometimes they tell a story that words haven't caught up with yet. But even body language isn't the deepest sign. Because there is something even more revealing than the way two people behave when they're together. It's what happens when they're apart. Why does one person keep returning to your thoughts? Why do certain conversations stay with you long after they've ended? Why do small memories suddenly become meaningful? Before we continue, if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology of love, emotions, and human connection, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, we uncover the deeper patterns behind relationships, attraction, and the human mind through psychology and the timeless ideas inspired by Carl Jung. Now, let's continue. So far, we have explored how attention and body language can reveal feelings that people sometimes try to hide. But there are deeper signs that appear when two people are no longer just noticing each other. They begin carrying a piece of each other into their everyday lives. Sign number 3. You stay in each other's minds when you are apart. A powerful connection is not only measured by what happens when two people are together. Sometimes, the strongest evidence is what happens when they are separated. Have you ever experienced a moment when someone suddenly comes to your mind for no obvious reason? You hear a song that reminds you of them. You see something that connects to a conversation you once had. You experience something during your day and immediately think, "I wish they were here to see this." This happens because emotionally meaningful people become connected to our memories, our emotions, and our personal experiences. The human mind is designed to hold on to what feels important. When someone makes a deep impression on us, they become part of our internal world. Carl Jung believed that relationships often reveal hidden parts of ourselves. Certain people awaken emotions, dreams, fears, and qualities that were already within us. Sometimes, a person affects us because they reflect something we are searching for. Maybe they represent confidence. Maybe they represent kindness. Maybe they make us feel understood in a way we rarely experience. That is why their presence can remain powerful even when they are not physically near. But there is something important to understand. Thinking about someone does not automatically mean they are your destiny or that they feel exactly the same way. The mind can create strong emotions from memories, hopes, and possibilities. The true sign of a meaningful connection is not only that someone occupies your thoughts, it is that the connection is supported by real actions, respect, and mutual effort. A healthy bond exists both in the heart and in reality. When two people genuinely care about each other, curiosity grows. They wonder how the other person is doing. They remember important details. They want to understand the person beyond the surface. They don't just miss the attention. They value the individual. And this leads to the fourth sign. Sign number 4. You both find reasons to stay connected. When two people feel drawn toward each other, connection often happens in small ways before it happens in big ways. It may begin with simple conversations, a message about something ordinary, a question that could have waited, a shared joke, a reason to continue a conversation a little longer. On the surface, these moments may seem insignificant, but emotionally, they reveal something important. People make time for what matters to them. When someone is genuinely interested, they usually look for opportunities to remain part of your world, not because they are trying to control your attention, but because connection feels natural. They want to know your thoughts. They want to hear your stories. They want to experience moments with you. This is why small efforts often reveal more than dramatic words. Anyone can make a promise, but consistent effort shows intention. Pay attention to whether the connection flows both ways. Do both people initiate? Do both people listen? Do both people make space for each other's feelings? A real connection is not one person chasing while the other watches. It is a shared movement toward understanding. And sometimes, the strongest sign is not what is said. It is the quality of the silence. Sign number 5. The silence between you feels different. There is a difference between uncomfortable silence and meaningful silence. With some people, silence feels empty. You feel pressure to fill every moment. You search for something to say because being quiet feels awkward. But with someone you share a deeper connection with, silence can feel peaceful. You don't feel the need to perform. You don't feel the need to impress. You can simply exist beside each other. That kind of comfort often comes from feeling emotionally safe. You feel accepted instead of judged. You feel seen instead of ignored. Carl Jung often explored the idea of becoming more authentic, removing the masks we wear to the outside world. A meaningful relationship gives two people the freedom to be more of who they truly are. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to constantly prove your value. You can show your real thoughts, your fears, your dreams, and even your imperfections. But remember this: a deep connection is not only about feelings. It is also about choices. It is about how people treat each other. It is about honesty. It is about respect. It is about whether both people are willing to show up. Sometimes we feel a strong connection with someone because they awaken something important inside us. Sometimes that connection grows into a beautiful relationship. And sometimes it becomes a lesson that helps us understand ourselves better. The purpose is not to obsess over signs. The purpose is awareness. To understand your emotions, to recognize meaningful patterns, and to remain grounded enough to see the truth clearly. The strongest connections are not the ones that leave you constantly confused. They are the ones that bring more clarity, peace, and growth into your life. So, if you feel a powerful bond with someone, ask yourself, do we bring out the best in each other? Do our actions match our feelings? Do we create safety, honesty, and respect? Because real connection is not only found in chemistry, it is built through two people choosing each other again and again. Thank you for watching and spending this time with us. If this message connected with you, comment "Silent Connection" below and share your thoughts. Your comment helps this message reach more people who are searching for understanding in love and relationships. If you found value in this video, please like it, share it with someone who may need to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos about psychology, emotional intelligence, relationships, and the hidden patterns of the human heart. Until next time, remember, the deepest connections are not always the loudest. Sometimes the heart speaks quietly, and sometimes the things we do not say reveal the most.